Hey guys, I'm Krishna Barber, and I'm going to show you how to make a pocket mask so we can enable our nurses to slide filters down inside. What you're going to do is you're going to take your fabric, and it'll be folded in half, and then you can also fold it over one more time. This will save you time cutting. Then we're going to lay this down on a mat, and we need 16 inches. So then we will cut that. And you can use a rotary cutter if you have one. If not, good old scissors. And then what we're gonna do is we are going to start cutting from the open end of your fabric, and we're gonna lay this down, and we need to cut 8 inches in width. So I'm just gonna lay this down and cut. And it doesn't have to be perfect. So this creates 2 masks that I've cut that quickly. You can cut another 8 inches and then also open the fold and cut 8 inches. So out of one length of fabric or width of fabric, you can get 5 masks. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these over here to our iron, and we are going to lay it face down, right sides down. We're gonna fold it over 1/4 of an inch, and we are going to press. Then we are going to fold it over another 1/4 of an inch and press that as well. And what we're doing is we're creating the top of our pocket. We're going to do that on both sides. This is on our 8-inch width side. All right, now before you leave your iron, one other thing you can do is go ahead and take your mask and fold it right sides together. And then we can press, and this kind of gives us an idea once we start placing our elastic of where the length of our mask will be. All right, so now we're gonna go to the sewing machine. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this seam that we just ironed, and we're gonna press or sew this down that we just pressed. And we're going to stitch along this edge. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take this rectangle, we have both sides sewn, and we're going to fold it in half. What we're also going to do is we're going to cut elastic to 7 inches. These are to make the ear loop holes for them to wear the masks. So since we've pressed this seam down in the bottom, what we need to do is we're going to stitch this elastic down at the bottom. We want it to kind of peek out a little bit, so we make sure that we catch that well in our seam, so that way we don't have to worry about these pulling out when they're taking them on and off. And then we're also going to pin it at the top, just under where we've stitched the top of our pocket. And then you just want to tuck this elastic to make sure that you don't stitch that into your seam. And you also want to make sure you lay the elastic to where it will not be folded or twisted. And now we're going to run a stitch about 1/4 of an inch. Don't sew over your needles, people. And you'll want to back stitch at the beginning and the end. When you do that, you don't have to do that across the top, but you need to back stitch here. And then we're going to take our other piece of elastic and do the same thing on the other side, making sure that we're going to pin this relatively the same spot. It's not about perfection, but we also want to make sure that it's well made. We're going to make sure that that's tucked down between these layers well. And now we are going to stitch. So you'll go forward, make sure you back stitch. just want to cut any threads that we might have out of the way. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to flip. And we have a pocket. And now we're going back to the ironing board. Okay, now you can either press or pin these. I found it to be easier to press them down and quicker. So you're just going to eyeball it and you're going to do like a little pinch pleat, and then you are going to iron that down. You're going to do 3 of these down the length of our mask. Like I said, this does not have to be perfect, okay? What we're trying to do is just enable this mask to expand to wear over an N95 if they have it, but also expand to allow them to put the filters down inside or surgical masks. So now we're gonna go back to the sewing machine. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these pleats that we just created with our ironing board or iron, or that we pinned in place. We're gonna use the edge of the fabric as kind of our guide, and we're just gonna stitch. We're gonna forward stitch and back stitch, and we're just gonna hold those in place as we sew or with a pin, and then you're also gonna forward and back stitch at the end as well. And we're gonna do that on both sides. And just like that, we have our mask that now has the filter pocket that will enable them to, like I said, slide a surgical mask down inside or some of the 3M filter material that we have, but it will also expand to completely cover their N95s to keep them clean and protected.